Hey guys, it's Dave here from Kart Class. We're at MCC, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. We're here to show you guys the fastest way to drive this almost 1 mile circuit. It offers both fast sweeping corners, some fast chicanes, and a technical switchback that leads onto a long main straight. Let's find out where to brake, where to accelerate, and where the best places to overtake. So let's get stuck into it. So as we start our lap at MCC, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, drivers want to approach turn 1 basically flat out, barring the shifter category. Turn 2 presents the first real overtaking opportunity on the track. This is a light lock of the brakes, but drivers can get up the inside. The fastest approach is take a later apex, and that sets you up against the back straight nice and quickly. Turn 3 is flat out. As we make our way down the back straight, this presents another opportunity to overtake our competitors. Less braking is required here because the corner opens up a lot more than turn 2. On the exit of turn 4, allow the kart to flow to the edge of the track. You can use that outside curbing. Now there's two different approaches that drivers are going to take in turn 5, the right hand 180 degree switchback. Our low performance categories want to open up the entry, where X30 and shifter can attack the inside apex a lot more aggressively. The reason for this is they've got a lot more horsepower to get out of that corner nice and quickly. A little chirp of the brakes is still required into this corner, but drivers want to get on the gas a little bit earlier than that middle of the apex, and this then sets them up to get through the next part of the straight and through those chicanes nice and quickly. Drivers can utilise the inside curbs through the chicane, with the last right hand kink being the most important to hit in the right spot. If drivers approach that with too early of an apex, they exit too wide, and that then jeopardizes their racing line for the next left-hand turn. You want to turn in a little bit later so you can hug the right-hand side of the track, and that then opens up the left-hand turn before it goes up a hill. The key here is to lightly lock the brakes, but get on the gas nice and early to exit over that hill with a little bit more speed than your competitors. Once we've utilized the whole track, we start to go over a little crest, and now we're making our way into a long left-hand sweeping corner. Not too much braking is required here. We want to try and use the long circumference of the corner to slow the speed down. And I found that using the inside curb actually helps rotate the kart and not flow the kart too wide in the middle of this turn. Using too much racetrack here is just not quick enough. So once we exit in the middle of the track, we start to move the kart towards 3/4 to full racetrack width as we go into the final two 180 degree switchback corners. Again, you can pass into these final two corners. I would try and pass into the left-hander rather than the last right-hand corner, but it's a late apex on your fastest lap. So a late turn in on the gas nice and early, and you can start to utilize that inside curb at the very back end of the left-hand turn. Once we exit, it's in the middle of the corner, and not too much braking is required into the final turn because of the speed that we have into that final turn. On exiting the corner, try not to drop a wheel because there's no exit curbing on this part of the track, and then run a nice straight line approach to the final start-finish line. That's a lap of MCC from Dave here at Kart Class. Enjoy this weekend's USPKS race, and good luck to all competitors.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
I'm David Serra, 18-time Australian karting champion, and we're launching Kart Class. Kart Class is an advanced digital training program that suits a driver who's just starting out in the sport all the way to the driver looking to win a national championship.
In this program, you're going to be learning about how to find the ideal racing line and what an apex is, braking and throttle markers, wet weather racing lines, and how to overtake other competitors. We target how to brake in the wet weather, and we look on the mental side of kart racing as well with our mental skills coach. At the completion of this program, you'll be lighting up purple sectors in qualifying, know when to defend on the opening laps, and how to pressure your opposition into mistakes. We teach you the tools to be resilient and how to get in the right frame of mind before a race. We look to complete the whole package by getting a strong mindset, a driving style to suit all conditions, strategizing your race, and getting the last 1% from your team. We'll teach you how to win the final lap of a race, driving the wet like Max Verstappen, and creating the perfect bubble for yourself to mentally be in the zone. To find out more, click the link below.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLUSA.com.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Karts are on the grid, drivers are on the grid, and we are getting set to go racing here at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Again, my name is Emery White. I'm joined by Justin Prince, and we are set for a great conclusion to the first round of the Rotax Max Challenge US Trophy East. We'll start out with the Junior Max category, and Justin, this class was a lot of fun to watch yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun to see a lot of the battling, especially seeing Jackson Gibson during the heat races, try and showcase the speed that later showcased itself during the pre-final with how he held off Tartar and company. Jackson Deal is going to be an interesting one as well with the speed he's showcased all weekend long. You throw into the mix as well others like Nick Eccleston and others who are looking to see what their day utilizes themselves at for the final today. It's going to be a fun time with a lot of big names, a lot of drivers ready to shuffle the deck, so to speak, in terms of this running order over the course of the next 16 minutes plus 2 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this has been one of the most exciting classes we've seen all weekend long. And let's take you through your starting order. Jackson Gibson, of course, like you mentioned, a very good day yesterday. He starts alongside your pole sitter from yesterday in Caleb Tarter. Jackson Deal and Davin Roberts make up row 2 after some kind of tumultuous runs through the heats. They put it together very well in the pre-final. Nick Eichelson and Landon Buer on row number 3. Both of them have had great pace this weekend. And Kai Mars and Darren Kidd make up row number 4. Then further down, you have Shitoro Sunakawa and Derek Wargo on the 5th row. And then down through the rest of your 16 runners, Zener Malatesta, Adam Santa, Homer Heeman, Ryan Moore, Maddie Grace, and Alex Miller make up your field here for the Junior Max category.
And this should be interesting. Driver's choice on tires, by the way, was the call after practice. Looks like we're all set to go mostly on slicks.
Yeah, you can see now Gibson and Tarter, both of them obviously going to be on the slick tires. Track looks pretty dry. The racing should be exciting. Let's get set for some finals action here in Cincinnati. We're green, heading into turn 1, and Jackson Gibson off to the lead. How about it for Jackson Deal, trying to go from 3rd to 1st? Not quite going to happen as Gibson settles in, and around the outside goes Caleb Tarter. He's going to make it work through turn 2 and 3. Caleb Tarter to the race lead.
Tarter showing the aggression already to hold on to the clean air and quickly from that front row starting spot. Deal and several others looking to take advantage as a result too. But now this is going to be where Gibson's going to be challenged the most. We've seen him really aggressive in the early going in the pre-final yesterday. He needs to find that aggression again and find that balance to be able to make the passes back just like that.
Yeah, and you can see Gibson yesterday was so quick in the early going of these races. He was able to get himself up almost every final. Now he's going to get absolutely dive bombed there by Davin Roberts. Gibson's gone wide, and again, with the lack of grip on this track, when you go offline, it can be treacherous as Gibson's lost at least a second there. So again, a rough start to the race for Jackson Gibson. It's only going to get worse as there goes Nick Eccleston, Kai Mars, Landon Buer are going to try into one. They go side by side, and Gibson's having a nightmare opening lap and a half here.
Something's got to be up with that Kart. He was trying to reach for the radiator, it looked like, for a moment, to go all the way back here. He's already signaling everybody, pass me. You've seen there, something's wrong with Gibson.
Yeah, that is heartbreak for Jackson Gibson. Your pole sitter is not in a good state now. He's got some kind of issue aboard that OTK. He's not going to be able to compete for the win, and that is absolutely terrible to see. Jackson Gibson was so fast yesterday. Now going to have to settle for almost a dead last. As there goes to the inside, Davin Roberts for that second spot as he got by Jackson Deal there. And now Roberts aboard his Ryan Perry Motorsports OTK trying to move forward through the field as Landon Buer makes the move further back.
Yeah, a lot of people trying to make up some ground here, some squeezing out with the 242 a Kid. He was one of those with high expectations from the start of the sessions throughout Friday and Saturday. Hasn't lived up to them here today yet and throughout since then in the races. So right now at this point, you're seeing a lot of these drivers try and sort each other out here. Lots of time to think in this race here today. This is the longest you'll have race-wise, after all, for any of these classes here for each of these minutes here today.
Yeah, again, 16 minutes and 2 laps is by far the longest session of the weekend. You'll get a while. Oh, I think that's Jackson Gibson in the barrier. We'll see if we can pick it up there. Yes, I think that is the number 211 machine is out, or at least one of his teammates has got into the barrier trying to see the number on that. But yeah, I think that is Jackson Gibson out of the race for good there in turn number 4.
Extremely unfortunate for Gibson. That seems to have been part of what was going on with that Kart there. So Gibson's race has gone completely sideways, so to speak. But Roberts right now needs to find some pace and quickly to get back within solid drafting distance to get back up to Tarter. Tarter showing the pace that he had early on in the races yesterday that allowed him to run away before.
Yeah, Charter was absolutely flying yesterday. Today, no different. He's been able to pull a 7/10 of a second gap back to Jackson Deal. Davin Roberts as well, also, or excuse me, Roberts up into the second spot, and you can see just how quick Roberts has been on this lap, though, as Charter has come under fire now from Roberts. Maybe not this lap into this hairpin, but certainly down the front straightaway, Roberts is close enough to get a very good slipstream.
Slipstream is going to be very powerful yet again, I think, for some of these classes today, even with the conditions for the potential rain. If it stays dry, absolutely becomes one of those slipstream style races here, what we're seeing right now. But right now, at this point, Deal's saying, I've got to work with him, I got to catch up, can't afford to try and pounce back with Roberts. Now it's a 3-car breakaway, more than 2 seconds the gap between first and fourth already.
Yeah, Nick Eccleston has not had the greatest start, and of course, that's also partly due to Jackson Gibson's issues on the opening couple laps. There's a look at Gibson through turn 13, but because of that spread the field out a good bit, and now Davin Roberts has been able to bring Jackson Deal back up to Caleb Charter, but the rest of the grid has not been able to kind of follow through. So this is now Roberts' chance here. He's picked up almost a second over the course of the last 4 laps on Caleb Charter. And of course, the track not quite as good as it was yesterday. We're seeing times about a second off the pace. So this is where Roberts has put himself in a great spot here to make a move for the lead. Not going to make it into turn 1. Content to stay on the bumper of Charter, but that move feels imminent here as Roberts has gained so much time here in the last few laps.
He's got time to be patient if he so wants to, but if the opportunity presents itself yet again, you have to take it. When it comes to a situation like this today, you never know if it's going to be the race-winning move, even with 10 minutes to go right now. So Roberts, I think, is just waiting to see, okay, how are we going to play this? We've got plenty of time to work with, got plenty of time to follow, plenty of time to map things out and see how is he handling the corners, how can I maximize my opportunities by trying to take advantage of his slip-ups.
Yeah, and there goes Jackson Deal to the inside. Deal does not want to wait on Roberts. I think sensing maybe that the group behind him might be starting to close in just a little bit, Jackson Deal says, you know what, it's time to go. We cannot afford to sit in third for too much longer. That's going to give him a little bit of separation. It's back to being an MPG Motorsports 1-2 at the front of the field. And now Roberts, again, he was a bit patient with Caleb Charter. It's early in the race, it's understandable, but Deal wants to get himself up to the front.
Yeah, that I understand absolutely, because if someone's just playing the patient game and you know you're quicker than the person waiting for the patient game, may as well be the one to then take advantage of said game and wait behind. Now, that is fellow red carts there that are trying to line up now 1-2 on the racetrack. So Dio at this point, I think at the very least is just wanting to see, okay, what can I now do? Try and be the helper, so to speak, in this grouping.
Yeah, now Deal has a conundrum. He's worked his way up to the front. He's looked very quick with his move on Davin Roberts, but now do you push your teammate and try to get away, make it a 2-kart race, or do you want the lead yourself? Jackson Deal, well, he's kind of had a mixed feeling. He's worked with his teammates at times. He's gone for the lead for himself at times. This time, he pushes Charter in through turn number 2, and the 2 MPG boys trying to stretch out their lead a little bit on Davin Roberts here.
Yeah, they're pushing very well. In fact, Roberts lost 3 kart lengths from that push that time by. So Deal seems to be pretty clearly, for now, saying, let's make it a battle between us teammates. Let's try and get Roberts out of the equation a little bit, try and push him back.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Deal, it's tough to do that because you make one little bubble like we saw there through 9, 10, and 11, and suddenly, just like that, Davin Roberts back on the rear bumper of the 294 Kart Republic. So it's, again, it's kind of a accordion effect in a bit. As Caleb Charter with his hand up there. I'm not sure what's going on with him. He's pulling off.
Oh, he's pitting.
Caleb Charter's off. Caleb Charter has pulled off the track from the race lead. There's been some kind of mechanical issue with the number 205 MPG Motorsports Kart Republic, and Caleb Charter's chance at a main event victory here at the U.S. Trophy East opener is over. Unfortunate for him, and now Davin Roberts to the inside of Jackson Deal. He'll take the lead. So in the span of about 5 corners, this race has been completely flipped on its head, and now Davin Roberts is back in the race lead.
Well, not sure what happened there because he was running fine, then all of a sudden, hand raised, have issue, have to go in. So just like that, the race just flipped on its head, and now Roberts, because of all the puzzleness from Deal possibly there on what just happened there, now trying to see what's going to happen. It's still a 2-kart battle for the race lead, and now you take out the teammate equation. Now you're talking about drivers looking to try and squabble here.
Yeah, now this has turned into what should be a good battle, and now kind of the calculus changes. Jackson Deal will have looked back and seen, hey, the guys behind us aren't making any ground. In fact, the last time around, they were still, I mean, that last time compared to Deal, they were quicker because Deal got past. But in general, they're not really making any inroads, and if they just stay in line, Roberts and Deal are not going to be under fire. But Deal seems to think he's quicker. He's going to go for it. Jackson Deal to the race lead, and we'll see now how Roberts can hang on to the pace as he went all flying and lost about 2 or 3 kart lengths on the exit of turn number 7.
And they got to be careful a little bit here on how aggressive they battle, because now you have Eccleston, you have Uhur, you have Kidd. Good shout out to Kidd. That's the best run so far for him so far this weekend. You have Mars as well. Now Testa as well. That's slowly in the second pack, catching up to them as well. You have a lot of drivers starting to reel them on in if they start fighting too aggressively here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 drivers that if they fight, they will come under fire. We've seen Eccleston, we've seen Buer both be very quick. That last time through, again, more battling, more time lost to Eccleston, Buer, and Darrington that just went purple. So, again, I think with Deal in front, Roberts will be more content to push behind in second, but ultimately, you got to make the move that you feel like is best for yourself. And right now for Davin Roberts, that is just simply try to get back up to the rear bumper Deal. And I would say probably push, because the group behind them have been quicker at points, but they haven't been consistently quicker to where I think they're going to be able to run them down without some kind of heavy battling from the top 2.
5.5 minutes to work with, plus 2 laps still though, so there's still plenty of time to try and get something to work out for a move, absolutely. But right now, it doesn't seem like Roberts is able to close up to the bumper right now. Not close enough to be able to push yet. This time by, staying within 2/10. They did pick up the half second they lost, though, from the previous lap. So at the very least, it's pretty clear that when they're single file, they're fast. When they start to battle, obviously, that takes a lot of speed out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you get into formation, we're seeing Davin Roberts has had a lot of pace. We've seen Jackson Deal has been very comfortable leading the race, and I think that that's kind of the key thing. They're consistently quick. Even when they're battling, they lose 2 or 3 tenths a lap, but when they are in line, they're quick enough to where they don't have to worry about the karts behind them catching up. And that's the thing. You're not worried about pulling away at this point. It's just about maintaining that gap, and the best way to do that is by not sending it down the inside, which I think Davin Roberts clearly seemingly understood the assignment here, as he stayed behind Deal for a number of laps, even though he's had a couple of chances where he could have made the pass.
But it's also about being smart on the passing opportunity. There's a look at the air pack. They're not being in the working together grouping, so to speak. Kids saying, I want a podium here.
Yeah, Kidd definitely wants a podium, and he's been quicker really throughout this last few laps, so it's understandable why he made the move there on Landon Buer, but certainly Kidd has been flying. A good run through the field for him. We saw a little bit of this promise and pace on the pre-final for Darren Kidd, but for him to do this in the final has been seriously impressive. One of the best runs through the grid that we've seen all weekend long, and now he'll have a shot at a podium if he can just get by Nick Eccleston.
Yeah, he was top 3 in the final practices on the Friday too, and that's why we talked about so much as well as on the Saturday during the practice on that tempo. Look at what's happening in the pack behind him, though. It's an absolute wrestling match right now for that grouping, about 6 on back. Already some karts with dragging bumpers, in fact, right there. That's going to be a problem, and another kart having a pit.
Yeah, there goes Kai Mars off the track there. Unfortunate for Kai. He had a good run in the top 10 in the final, not to be for Homer Heeman, though, in that 6th spot. How about it for him? He has struggled all weekend long on that TKG Kart Republic, but he has put it together in the final and is driven forward from about 15th up to 6th now, with a good chance at possibly maintaining that position with a big pack behind him. So 2.5 minutes left. I would still say you still got a little bit of time here for Jackson Deal before you're going to want to make that move. You can see in the background, oh, I'm completely wrong on that. Davin Roberts wants the lead right now, and he's got it right there. So Davin Roberts back to the lead. Again, this is all about positioning at this point. You've got to go to lead now. You could afford to make a move or two, but you won't want to be doing that too often if you want to maintain that 2-second gap back to the karts behind you. As there goes an unfortunate end of the weekend for Shitoro Tsunokawa there, who had been so fast yesterday, struggling massively today. I do wonder if maybe he went for the rain tires in this final.
Yeah, he had been well off that pace by a good second. He had, or 5 seconds at least, should say. Indication of the rain tires on the pace at least. We'll see what the decision was, or find out if we can. But right now, these two up front are the focus, because Deal looking to show he can be the real deal for the move. Already trying to pressurize a mistake on Roberts, just about on the bumper, trying to break them away a little bit more on the setup.
Yeah, you can see there Jackson Deal able to keep the kart underneath him, and he goes straight back to the lead on Davin Roberts. So again, this switch in position will cost him a couple tenths. It's not the end of the world, but if they start battling anymore, Nick Eccleston, Darren Kidd, and Landon Buer will be on the scene. That gap has definitely shrunk this last time through. Let's see what it is now. 1.9 seconds. That last time was about 4 tenths quicker than Roberts, about a tenth quicker than Jackson Deal. So they are closing in, but it's going to take a little bit more battling for that second group to catch up.
Yeah, they'll need this to become a big-time squabble with at least 2 or 3 back and forths to be able to close up the gap they right now need. Right now, Deal trying to set things up right now in the runaway with how things are. There is a little bit of some of the bumper note from some of the bump drafting earlier in the race. If you look to the number plate, that's going to be an interesting one. You see that number plate almost crinkled up with how things have gone for this race today with 35 seconds left. We'll see how that kart holds up here.
Yeah, it should be no massive issue, but it is worth noting the rear bumper has been sort of messy. You can see the front bumper there, Davin Roberts as well, is a little bit ajar, but still nothing that would indicate any sort of massive mechanical issues. But we're down to the final 2 laps and a bit here for this Junior Max final, and Jackson Deal, since he's gotten the lead, has been very quick, very comfortable out front. Roberts right there, he's definitely close enough to make an attack at some point. But again, Roberts, when he's been behind, has been a little bit more patient than Deal has been, understanding that the group behind him is definitely quick enough to where any sort of mistake that they make, any sort of extra battling, will lead to a pass. So we'll see now. Roberts makes a look over his shoulder, not going to make a move into the sweeper. We'll see what he does into the turn 13 airpin. Again, not quite close enough into the braking zone there. And they'll come through the final corner to go towards 2 laps of racing to go, Justin.
Roberts needs to set this up this lap possibly, because we've seen that move for the win come sometimes with a lap and a half to go. With how difficult it's been to pass at times around this racetrack, Roberts is gaining a little bit of pace right now for that setup. We've seen a lot of attempts in these final laps in towards turn 12. Right now, Roberts might be thinking about even as early as turn 7 with how he's trying to wheel it. Now he's trying to get the hand signals there as he tries to get the kart to keep straight.
Yeah, you can see there Roberts kind of flustered a little bit now, but he's going to go through the chicane a few more corners on this second to last lap. And you can see just this pace that Deal has. He seems to have a little bit in hand to give himself the gap to not have to defend in certain parts of the track. And now as they come through turns 12 and 13, Roberts going to send one to the inside. Deal sees it coming, crosses it back over. Watch for the crossover on the exit of turn 14. Not going to happen. And Davin Roberts has seized control of this race with 1 lap to go.
Oh, and a big defensive move. Roberts holding on to the left side of his racetrack. Crossover and a bit of contact. Deal able to get alongside for turn 2.
Yeah, Jackson Deal to the inside. Jackson Deal's got the move, and look at Nick Eccleston. This is why they didn't want to fight unless they absolutely had to, because what was once a 2-kart breakaway for nearly half the race is now a 3-kart battle, and Eccleston is right on the bumper of Davin Roberts coming through turn number 7.
Roberts has an narrow opportunity, though, for turn 12. That's been his favorite spot here today. Eccleston in the popcorn seat. They're going in for turn 11. Here comes Eccleston.
Nick Eccleston able to cross over. We've lost Jackson Deal there. what has happened to Jackson Deal in the backside of the track, and suddenly Nick Eccleston out of nowhere is one corner away from a race victory. As they come through the final corner, it's going to be a drag race to the line. Eccleston against Davin Roberts down towards the main straightaway, coming to the start-finish line. It's a podium for Darren Roberts, or for Darren Kidd. It is a win for Nick Eccleston as they both celebrated coming to the line there, Justin.
Yeah, I almost thought Kidd was trying to celebrate Eccleston's run for a second. What a finish there, and what a podium setup. Eccleston in prime opportunity. You said it yourself there. If you had to do the battle for the race win, make it where it's a chess match, where it's down to just two pieces. We end up having multiple equations come in. At least one card, it looks like, may have gone off in turn 11. But right now, the main thing to consider in all of this, it came down to too many moves to decide the race win, and Eccleston takes advantage by turn 11.
Yeah, that was certainly one that we unfortunately did not get to see exactly what happened to Jackson Deal. Looked like he was up very frustrated with Davin Roberts. Again, that move, we've seen it time and time again last weekend. It is a sketchy place to make a pass. Haven't seen it a lot this weekend, but Davin Roberts with the move that Nick Eccleston was able to cross over. So Eccleston with the win, Roberts in second, Darren Kidd third, Landon Buer rounds out the top four with Tanner Malatesta in fifth. Down through the rest of the field, Adam Sena, Homer Heeman, Ryan Moore, Alex Miller, Matty Grace, all in the top 10. And then it's a big mix of cards from Jackson Deal, Derek Wargo, Kai Mars, Shotaro Tsunakawa, Caleb Tarter, your early leader, all of them out of the race, and all of them did not finish, as well as Jackson Gibson, who only got the 2 laps early on. So what a chaotic Junior Max final. We got a lot of track pickup to do. But when we come back, it's the Masters Max category, live on Kart Chaser.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
getting set to go here for the Masters Max action and the U.S. Trophy East round number 1 at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Again, this has been a thrilling day so far with the first final in the books for Junior Max, and now we get set for the Masters drivers to take the course here for their 16 minutes 2 laps final. Again, this was an intriguing category yesterday with the battle between John Bonanno and Laurencio Martin and Justin. I mean, we get set to go for this final. How do you think those two stack up heading to this one?
I think it stacks up very well because we've seen Martin in final practice try and square up Bonanno, try and see how things were going to play out for the back and forth, and better yet, how we would try and reel in Bonanno. I think both of them have near equal pace, so it's going to be an interesting battle amongst the two of them to see which one gets the very upper hand in this final.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that we're getting set to go. A lengthy track cleanup after the final, a big crash in turn 1 on the last lap for Derek Wargo, and a crash obviously in turn 11 for Jackson Deal from the lead of the race. So a lot to delve into from that Junior Max final, but again, we go into the Masters Max, like you mentioned, a chess match really between Martin and Bonanno. We saw Martin go out right behind Bonanno and warm up, get a good scope of things. The track definitely different than it was then, but I mean, these two have been the main protagonists all weekend. We'll see what they can do here for this final.
Yeah, we see Bonanno in particular seem to have the better long run pace as the racing went on. Oh look, though, the sun is out. So just like that, the rain clouds for now are saying bye-bye to Cincy, at least to this part of Cincinnati.
Yeah, as Andrew Clements would like to say, no more liquid sunshine in the air as of now. So hopefully we've just seen the last of the rain early in the morning, and we can have dry and fun finals, because this one should be a good battle. Again, Martin and Bonanno on the Masters side of things. There's other battles and storylines to go through throughout the rest of the grid. But again, lengthy cleanup here gives us a moment to just step away for just a second. But again, the Masters category should be a thriller here. So we'll get 16 minutes, 2 laps of racing. That should add up to be a roughly 19 laps in the total around this beautiful 0.95 mile 16 corner circuit at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati in Batavia, Ohio. So again, 4 classes. We've already done one of the finals, 3 more to go, starting with Masters Max.
Hey guys, it's Dave here from Kart Class. We're at MCC, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. We're here to show you guys the fastest way to drive this almost 1 mile circuit. It offers both fast sweeping corners, some fast chicanes, and a technical switchback that leads into a long main straight. Let's find out where to brake, where to accelerate, and where the best places to overtake. So let's get stuck into it.
So as we start our lap at MCC, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, drivers want to approach turn 1 basically flat out, barring the shifter category. Turn 2 presents the first real overtaking opportunity on the track. This is a light lock of the brakes, but drivers can get up the inside. The fastest approach is take a later apex, and that sets you up against the back straight nice and quickly. Turn 3 is flat out. As we make our way down the back straight, this presents another opportunity to overtake our competitors. Less braking is required here because the corner opens up a lot more than turn 2. On the exit of turn 4, allow the kart to flow to the edge of the track. You can use that outside curbing. Now there's 2 different approaches that drivers are going to take in turn 5, the right hand 180 degree switchback. Our low performance categories want to open up the entry, where X30 and shifter can attack the inside apex a lot more aggressively. The reason for this is they've got a lot more horsepower to get out of that corner nice and quickly. A little chirp of the brakes is still required into this corner, but drivers want to get on the gas a little bit earlier than that middle of the apex, and this then sets them up to get through the next part of the straight and through those chicanes nice and quickly. Drivers can utilise the inside curbs through the chicane, with the last right-hand kink being the most important to hit in the right spot. If drivers approach that with too early of an apex, they exit too wide, and that then jeopardizes their racing line for the next left-hand turn. You want to turn in a little bit later so you can hug the right-hand side of the track, and that then opens up the left-hand turn before it goes up a hill. The key here is to lightly lock the brakes, begin the gas nice and early to exit over that hill with a little bit more speed than your competitors. Once we've utilised the whole track, we start to go over the little crest, and now we're making our way into a long left-hand sweeping corner. Not too much braking is required here. We want to try and use the long circumference.
Again, an awesome track preview there from David Serra, getting us set to go for the 60 minutes and 2 laps final here for the Masters Max drivers. It is going to be an exciting one for sure. John Bonanno and Mauricio Martin, row 1. Ray Bannock trying to keep up with them from 3rd alongside Chris McKinley on row 2. Pop Glide and Dallas Hoff on row 3. And John Todd and Bo Amato on row 4. This one should be some good racing here all the way throughout the field. 8 karts in total for the Masters Max categories. Bonanno, it's Martin on the front row. Who's going to come out on top of this chess match here in the final? We're looking for a green, and we got it into turn 1. Martin not happy that went green, and he'll slot into second behind Bonanno. No harm, no foul, as the rest of your 8 competitors slide through turn number 2.
Yeah, he was a full kart length just about behind, but he's still going to have to push regardless. This is about the distance he practiced in the warm-up session. We'll see what they do here. It looks like they stay single file this time as they run through turn number 7.
Yeah, staying single file now. These first 3 or 4 laps will give a good indication of how this race is going to unfold. We've seen Bonanno and Martin be a step clear of the rest of the field. Martin seems to take a little bit longer to get his tires up to temperature if Heat 2 in the pre-final were any indication yesterday. So this will be interesting to watch, but certainly Laurencio Martin has a good package underneath him, and he's shown a lot of pace throughout the course of this weekend.
Bonanno was the one who did the best in the pre-final, but it was Martin who did better in the first heat race before losing track position. Martin seems to be taking the corners a little bit more shallower, trying to see if that's going to work right now. Try and find a little bit more space compared to the wider arcs of Bonanno up at the front. 2 different minor differences to what you expect to see of the track map. You can definitely tell they've got the practice down in terms of what they feel on these karts for what they want to do for these corners to get the execution they want. And we already talked about this yesterday. Bonanno, strengths are different compared to Martin in parts of the racetrack. Martin was stronger all the way up until turn 13, for example, in this sector. Then right around here, Bonanno with the diamond line was stronger yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bonanno, again, just gets a good launch out of that last corner, which is important because it prevents a late move from Martin into turn 1 and a great slipstream down the main straightaway. So again, this has been intriguing to watch the line differences between these 2 drivers, but certainly Bonanno has control of the race right now. So again, John Bonanno doing his best to keep the kart underneath him, keep himself ahead of Laurencio Martin, who has been stalking him all race long. Again, 13 minutes and 2 laps left in this one, so this is still longer than any race they've had all weekend, any session they've had all weekend. So the tire pressures will come into play. How aggressive have these 2 gone on the pressures? Again, with the colder temperatures today, probably could get away with a little bit of a higher pressure, so that might play into factor, but ultimately a 19-lap race is a lot of time around a track that really puts a lot of inertia into the tires.
Yeah, you have to pace yourself, right? You can't just say, let's go full throttle, full out, full heart, full steel, all the way around the racetrack. You're going to burn up your tires like that. You need to be able to save the tires so they last the full run, because if you put too much heat through them, if you push too hard, so to speak, you're not going to have the same pace for the end of the race. You have to evenly manage it from start to finish in theory.
Yeah, you have to evenly manage it for sure. You have to make sure that the temperatures are underneath you. A good example of this is yesterday in qualifying. We saw Diego Ramos and Timothy Pernod in the Senior Max category take a cooldown lap, get the temperatures back underneath them, and immediately went really quick. So that shows just how much time there is in the thermal side of recognizing when the tires need to be cooled off a little bit. Obviously, you can't pull off to the side and slow down 9 seconds in an actual race, but you can make sure that you're not sliding the tires too much, you're not pushing too hard in the braking zones, and you're keeping the tires underneath you, and that will pay dividends over the rest of the race, where you have the tires in the right working window, and the other guy maybe has overheated them a little bit and starts to slide.
Yeah, and as well, remember the temperatures are almost like a curve when it comes to, if you put them on a graph, you reach X amount of temperature on the tires, you start losing performance if they're too hot, just like if they're too cold, the tires, you end up not running as fast compared to the optimal window. Getting that optimal window is very difficult, and if you keep them in the optimal window, you're in a good spot, and Bonanno seems to be at the very least keeping them in the optimal window with how he's been able to handle this kart and not slip up with Mardan. Banach is showing a lot better pace compared to yesterday, though. He's keeping within drafting distance at least, just a little bit between these top two right now over the course of these first 5 or so minutes. A lot closer than yesterday.
Yeah, Banach has been a lot closer. Martin, though, is staying right on the rear bumper, and we've seen Banach have the pace at times. He just hasn't really been all the way up there. He's been consistent, but he's been consistently 3 to 4 tenths off. But so far in the main event, he's been a little bit closer. He's within range where if they start battling, he can pull back up and pull back closer. And that last time through, only a tenth off of Martin and the same time as John Bonanno. So, again, Bonanno really good through this from about turn 6 all the way up through turn 11. And then the rest of the lap is where Martin really is able to hone in on Bonanno with his aggressive line into turns 13 and 14.
Yeah. It's not been the question of can he keep up. It's what times is he going to put up in terms of the race, I think, for Banach, because, or I should rather flip that around. It's been if he can keep up. He's been able to match times, but that's been a big thing throughout this race. Looking like, meanwhile, some swap arounds going on. Bo Amato had about a 9-second loss after getting all the way up to McGinley. He is slipping and sliding, trying to get that kart to rotate still. Or rather, that was Hoff.
It was a battle between Hoff and Todd there for the last spot on the racetrack there between John Todd and Dallas Hoff. So those two having a real fight for the last position, and you can see everyone else outside of the top two kind of spaced out a little bit with Banach still not too far away. So for a lot of these guys, it's like a little bit of a test session, but for Laurencio Martin and John Bonanno and Ray Banach, who's right there as well, this is turning into a very interestingly shaped final here.
And eventually you have to think Martin get a chance to be able to take a peek and look. He's going to take the peek now up through turn 2, able to make it stick Martin to the race lead.
Laurencio Martin with a smooth move there. Looks like Bonanno maybe overcooked it a little bit into turn 2, and Martin just sent it to the apex, got the move done, and for the first time since Heat 1 yesterday, Laurencio Martin up on the first position here about halfway through this Masters Max final.
Pressurizing a mistake is the terminology, right? Kept himself lockstep, forced Bonanno to be near perfect on his marks. Second, Bonanno slips up. You go to the inside, you make the pass, and then you have the set lead just like that. Now, can he run away here is a question.
Yeah, absolutely. Can Martin get away? We've seen him hounding the rear bumper of Bonanno, and this is the section of the track where he's been really good all weekend long. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you have about a 3-4 car length lead, and now Bonanno heads back to the section where he's been really good from about turn 1 down through turn 7. Bonanno has been very quick and absolutely looks to be closing back up to Martin a bit. So Martin, of course, the pole sitter yesterday, won Heat 1, has had great pace all weekend long, but John Bonanno there with him every step of the way, quicker through turn 7, and Martin takes a peek back and sees that Bonanno was not far away at all.
Purple lap last time by the way, for Martin, so he is kicking the speed up a bit here across the course. So now it's the question, too, as you said, can Bonanno start trading some purple laps? Can he get that shaved on down? Again, he's even in traffic been better in the final corners of the racetrack, but it's going to be difficult now that Mardan's in front because Mardan is extremely difficult to stop. Last time by, 2/10 quicker for Bonanno.
Yeah, Bonanno right there on Mardan. Again, at this point, you can throw the lap times, you can throw what's happened this weekend up in the air at this point because it is down to the last 7 minutes and 2 laps. You have 2 karts that are pretty evenly matched, and you will have a few laps left to kind of decide the rest of this race. So what's happened to this point really is irrelevant. The lap time's pretty much irrelevant at this point. It's a mano-a-mano battle between Mardan and Bonanno to try to find out who can find their way to the front of the field. And right now, Mardan's won that battle, but the battle is certainly not over yet.
Not over whatsoever, but right now I think Mardan is making it difficult in terms of the close-up. He tried to make a move. Remember, we've seen Mardan on Bonanno with 2 to go yesterday. It ended up being too early of a move. That left him no time to respond for the final lap or be able to try and make the move round or work for the final lap. Bonanno has to be thinking about that a little bit in the back of his mind here in terms of how he's going to plot things with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Bonanno's got to be thinking through, where am I better? The answer to that really is turns 6 and 7 as well as turn 2 are the main areas where Bonanno's better under braking and better at the center of the corner. So with those 2 in mind, you got to kind of find a way to make Mardan defend earlier on the racetrack and kind of catch him off guard at a place that Bonanno is quicker. So how he sets this move up is going to be critical here. This is the section Mardan's really good getting on the curve on the first part of the corner, and then on the exit of the corner, he's still able to carry a wide line and get a good launch down the main straightaway. So 5 minutes left in this race. Mardan has seemingly been good on the back half of the track. Bonanno really good on the first half of the track.
Yeah, it's almost like trading tennis serves, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth when it comes to the pace, like a pendulum to swing. So right now, can Bonanno close it up? That's the huge mark. And right now, Bonanno, great run through turn 7, nearly got a chance to take a peek there.
Yeah, Bonanno there almost got a shot, but again, he's quick in an area that it doesn't really lead to much of an overtaking zone, or it's one that can be pretty easily covered off. So that is worth noting, but John Bonanno clearly has the pace against Mardan. They have dropped Ray Bonach a good bit the last few laps. I think Mardan being in front has been a little bit quicker than John Bonanno in front, as they've been running 57.4s consistently, and that is quicker than what Ray Bonach has been managing to do. Earlier in the race, they were doing 6s and 7s, and it wasn't quite as noticeable, but now Bonach seems to have fallen off a good bit.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to the pattern as yesterday, unfortunately for Bonach. He had a similar fall off by this point on the long run. So pretty clearly better on the short run there, unfortunately, for Bonach. But still, as they plan things out, Mardan still leaving that bottom open through turn 7. Right now, Bonanno trying to set things up possibly. This is the closest he's been as they make their way to turn 12, up to 13 and 14 as the pop valve gets adjusted. Here's the run.
Oh, and I think there Bonanno got squeezed out just a little bit as Mardan again adjusted the top of the radiator, saw that Bonanno was coming, and just made a great move there to kind of chop him off a bit. And Bonanno hits the dirt on the exit of the final corner. That will cost him a good amount of time. He'll have to regroup and try again here in a lap or two. But again, Bonanno found the run, found the rhythm, and almost got alongside and past Exgel Mardan.
Yeah, and it's similar to what we've seen yesterday with Mardan, where he had to play around with the radiator so much they lost 2 seconds. Is this going to be a similar situation where overheating comes up because those temps are starting, in theory, go up with the air because of that sunshine compared to earlier? Bonanno still keeping them at bay, and they are slowly reaching lap traffic.
Yeah, they are going to reach lap traffic. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. I think they might end up getting removed off the racetrack, but regardless, John Bonanno has found a rhythm in these last few laps. He's definitely just as quick as what Rencio Martin can do. And now it's just about finding the right opportunity. He almost found that right opportunity a lap or so before. Yeah, the two guys in front getting the black flag. You see that message on the scoring board. So that's it for the 622 of Dallas Hoff and the 621 of John Todd. Both of them about to get lapped by your race leaders here, and they hopefully will not play into this lead battle too much.
Blue blinking lights are over as there's the one, there's the second now having to make their way over here, and Todd still hasn't served the blue flag. There it is this time. Oh, this is in front of the leaders. Here we go.
Yeah, this is going to kick off here. Martin to the inside of turn 11. Looks like they made it through unscathed, but now you can see him frustrated with John Bonanno. He's like, hey, let's go, let's push. Oh, man, Martin got caught out a little bit by the traffic, and now Bonanno right behind him. Could have made a move there, a little bit maybe of a gentleman's agreement not to make a pass in the turn 11 or the turn 12 sweeper, and now down the main straightaway. Seems to be back to fair game again.
Black flag now coming over for the two of them, as you said, officially on the screens. But that was a little bit too close for comfort. Bonanno with 1 minute and 20 seconds to try and get a job of a pass done.
Yeah, if I was Rencio Martin, I would not be happy with the way that was handled, just because it kind of lost him crucial momentum. It meant that now, instead of being 3 or 4 car lengths ahead, now Bonanno is right on his rear bumper, which from a racecraft standpoint changes a lot. Now, Martin has done a great job to kind of keep Bonanno at bay coming out of this final, or coming out of turn 11, but still, this is not over yet, and it certainly was not helped there by the traffic.
Yeah, Bonanno once again better through the final corners, still able to inch by inch close up here, but still 3 laps to do something, 3 laps to get the job done.
Yeah, 3 laps left. This will be coming to 2 to go this next time by. There goes John Bonanno into turn 2. Oh, almost able to send it. He's going to go side by side. Martin trying to hang it around the outside. They're still side by side. Bonanno's in the dirt, and Martin hangs on. Bonanno's going to have to really get the dirt off his tires quickly here to get back up to Rencio Martin. They went side by side. Martin held it around the outside of turn 2, sent it into turn 3, gave Bonanno very little space, but it all worked out, and Rencio Martin back up on the point as Bonanno found the place where he needed to make the move, but did not quite send it hard enough to overpower Rencio Martin there.
Is there going to be enough time for him to close up? That's the huge question right now. Still 2 car lanes to close up, and that took 3 minutes to set up the opportunity like that before. Bonanno's going to have an uphill climb here to do this over the course of 2 laps again, just like that.
Yeah, granted, Bonanno has been very quick in this first half of the racetrack throughout the race, but Martin has seemed to have the upper hand on him from a pace standpoint over the course of the last few laps. That time through again over where he went off the last time around, this time about the same gap. So Bonanno's going to have to find a way to pick up a little bit more pace than what he's picked up now if he wants any shot to get back to the lead. As he sends it into 7, it sticks pretty well, and he's again back within a couple of tenths of Martin, but he's going to need a little bit more than that if he wants a shot at the race win.
He's going to need that, like 3 consecutive corners here. He's not close enough to realistically lunge for it safely and to get it done and a good job successfully. Needs an hour car length closed up for the final lap. Might be able to get something by turn 12 if he does so. Turn 2, that's not been easy to make the move stick today. White flag this time.
Yeah, and Bonanno dropped just a little bit of a wheel there out of the last corner. Will cost him just a bit. Slides it through 1. He's not close enough. John Bonanno not close enough through turn 2. Gets a decent exit, but Martin, these last couple laps have been so good at that part of the racetrack, and now is like, I'm going to turn 4. Martin has to go a little bit defensive. This should open up the door here for Bonanno to be a little bit closer as they come through turn 7. Martin has Bonanno right on his bumper, pressuring him up the hill.
Can he pressurize him into mistake? There's been very minimal mistakes from Martin here today. Bonanno is within that car length closer. Does he take a lunge for turn 12?
He slid it out though. He missed it. He hit the curve on the turn 11 or the turn 12 sweeper, missed the apex a bit, goes wide, and that is all she wrote. And on the final lap, Rencio Martin able to hold off the challenge from John Bonanno. He'll win round 1 of Master Max in Cincinnati.
Nicely done for Mardan here today. The pace kicked up when it needed to, big time here today. Mardan getting fist bumps and congratulations from Bonanno. Well done by the two of them for that battle here today. And Mardan had one of the karts to beat from the get-go this weekend. What a run throughout this entire weekend for Mardan.
Yeah, that Techno Kart USA on rails for Oncho Mardan, just beating out the J3 Comp Kart of John Bonanno. So a good weekend for both of them. Ray Bonakins up on the podium in the third place. How about it, actually, for Chris McGinley, ending up in fourth after a scary crash yesterday. Again, rebounding from that, finishing off in the fourth position, the last spot off the podium, some 22 seconds off of third position, but still a great run for Chris McGinley. Pop Clyde in the fifth spot, Bo Amato in sixth, and then obviously John Todd and Dallas Hoff not finishing after getting lapped in black flags. So that wraps up Masters Max. A great battle between Lorenzo Martin and John Bonanno, but the Romanian, the Technokart USA pilot, walks away with the victory.
But you know what that means coming up around the corner? Micro and Mini Max just about set to get themselves ready to go racing here too in the next little bit. And with it being dry conditions, it becomes a slipstream discussion yet again as they go to the drivers' meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Meeting with all the drivers on the grid. Again, we saw yesterday a number of start infringements for this category. So I'd imagine that might be part of what is getting discussed here on the grid for these young drivers. But man, I mean, this has been a fun category to watch all weekend long. Been dominated by the Red Army, the PSL boys. We'll see what they can do here for another main event coming up here as they all head back to their karts and get set to go for their final race of the weekend.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one because of what we've seen. You have Varela having to come from near the back of the field. You have Ashton Woon that had several spins in the final practice. You have Saint-Pierre, who's going to be starting on the pole. That's been lightning quick, and at least for the mini side. And then you have the micro side with everything that how things shuffle. Slate Harrell will be the one starting the pole there for that respective class. We've seen Slate better on the long run at times compared to Jack. Does that hold up over the course of 14 minutes plus 2 laps this time?
Yeah, Slate Harrell's been very quick at points this weekend. Was able to beat Jack Katowski on track yesterday in the pre-final. So definitely some opportunity here as you see Holden Myers going to the front of the grid to his grid slot. Not sure if maybe was late to the grid or what, but Holden Myers back in the correct slot as this grid gets formed up and ready to go for the Mini and the Micromax.
Yeah, and expecting this to become a gauntlet of fighting in months, the Mini in particular again today. De Janeiro in particular is going to be an interesting one yet again. A firecracker of a racer in the battle so far this weekend. It's going to be a back and forth affair potentially. What happens with a lot of the comers and goers going to have to work their way, or rather a lot of those towards the front should say, having to work their way from the mid to backpack in this race, which it's doable, but we'll see.
Yeah, it is possible. This track has overtaking opportunities, especially in a class like Mini where there's a lot of drafting opportunity. So this should be fun to watch for sure. So we'll see how this all goes, but here is a look at the starting lineup. Jeremy Sakier on pole position. He'll start on the front row alongside Enzo De Janeiro. Then the second row has been completely shuffled up after a very interesting race in the pre-final yesterday. Holden Myers and Lucas Tarango on row number 2. Connor Leifka and Nico Katowski on row 3. Lorenko Varela, who looked so good yesterday, has to start all the way back in the 7th spot alongside Achilles Sapirko. And Cole Vetter and Ashton Woon round out your top 10 in your field for the Mini Max drivers. And for the Micro Max drivers, Slate Harrell starts on pole by virtue of his win in the pre-final. Jack Katowski in second, and Anthony Mazzuccolo in the third position.
Again, Should be a great battle here for these ones today. It should be a fun time to see what happens up at the front for Mini. It looks like they're already trying to go 3 wide. That's not going to work. We'll see how they get sorted out here once they get to the start box.
Absolutely. And again, this is a chance for some guys that were not up towards the front earlier in the weekend to get up there now. You've got Enzo De Janeiro on the front row. You've got Holden Myers in the top 3. You got Lucas Tarango on the outside of row 2. But Jeremy St. well accustomed to leading the field to the green flag. He'll do it this time around as we get set to go for the main event action. It's Mini Max. It's Micro Max. It is green here at Cincinnati, and off to the lead is Jeremy St. ahead of Enzo De Janeiro with Holden Myers not far behind, and already defensive driving there from Jeremy St. to hang on to P1 ahead of Enzo De Janeiro.
Not a surprise with how important track position's been here today already. Several drivers trying to scatter for 4th on back. Need to find some ground and fast, though, in respect to those packs. If you want to keep up with the draft, you don't want to spend too long battling too hard for the outside of the podium positions.
And you can see there Lucas Varela as well, or Renko Varela as well as Nico Kotowski, both getting through the midfield up to the 4th and 5th positions already in the opening lap. Having said that, Lucas Tarango to the inside there of Kotowski for the 5th position. A good move from the young drivers. He's going to get crossed over here, and this has been an interesting opening lap as both Varela and Kotowski trying to work their way forward after the penalties yesterday, but Jeremy St. in clean air in the front trying to pull away from Enzo De Janeiro.
Half a second already, in fact. Don't know if that's going to last with this package here. Still have plenty of time to work with. Of note, Harold got shuffled very quickly to the back of the micro field, it looks like. Already Kotowski up to that point by 7/10. In fact, they've already had to pass Leipka as one of the drivers in the other class with how things have fared out so far in this race.
Yeah, something happened to Connor Leipka on the first lap. I think he saw him going wide on the exit of turn number 3, so not ideal for him, but he'll have to work with what he has. This lap looks a bit better for Enzo De Janeiro. He stayed in touch with Jeremy St. and we'll see if he can continue to do that. It's coming through turn 13. Here comes Renko Varela up into the 3rd position as he gets around Holden Myers for that spot, and Nico Kotowski not far behind him as well.
Yeah, some great battling in the field right now. Here we go yet again for some side-by-side too. How about Kotowski taking the peak? Myers keeping up what's been a strong run for him today. We talked about him a little bit in practice. He's been getting better and better as the weekend's gone on.
Yeah, and the track position to start the final, starting in 3rd spot, propping him up a bit here. But the battle at the front of the field, again, Enzo De Janeiro got gapped the first lap and a half, but since then has settled in a bit, got in his rhythm, and he needs to because he's got Renko Varela coming pretty fast behind him as he's trying to hang on against Jeremy St. who has gone off to a very comfortable opening race lead. But as he looks back, De Janeiro very close now. So De Janeiro, these last couple laps has been very good in this section of the racetrack. We'll see if he tries to stick behind Jeremy St. wants to attempt to try to get to the lead here in the next lap or so.
I think I seen a signal that time before turn 12 to say work with me. So I'm wondering if they're having the same thought right now of let's try and break away. De Janeiro doesn't want that signal. He wants the lead. How about that cut to get by St. at the start and finish line? And De Janeiro looking to see what he can now do in the colorful cart up front.
Yeah, it takes 2 to tango as De Janeiro and the Team Ferris Racing F8 cart up to the front of the field ahead of Jeremy St. St. wanted him to work together. De Janeiro was like, absolutely not, because I've got another cart coming behind me that is going to get up there very fast here at this rate, as Varela that last time through was quicker than Jeremy St. and has now worked his way up almost in a drafting range from these top 2.
And now they're almost lockstep, these two, on the head motions as well. Oh, here comes the run. St. too wide for De Janeiro through the corner. Side by side, De Janeiro sets the crossover, and here comes Varela. What a comeback there for Varela. More hand signals as the teammates look to try and work in 2nd and 3rd right behind De Janeiro.
Yeah, Enzo De Janeiro trying to take control of this race coming into turn number 2 now. Jeremy St. gets up there, and Varela pushes him through, and now the two PSL karting Burrell Arts up to the front of the field, and they will try maybe to work together and see if they can push away from De Janeiro, who has had a very good run to start this race to get back up to the lead. Now they're going to have to try to do what he can to hang on to these top two.
Now he's going to need to dig to make the punt for the first 3 letters for the name bar. But right now, that's not going to be so simple with how things have played out so far amongst these Red Army machines. They have been knockout fast with track position. Katowski is already closing up to them too.
Yeah, Katowski's trying to make it 3 Burrells in the top 4, or excuse me, 3 Burrells in the lead pack, maybe even 3 in the top 3 at this point, as they have really gapped De Janeiro on the second half of this one. We'll see how aggressive they are. Look back, further back, there's a move for Lucas Tarango into the 5th position almost. He's going to have to back out of it as Holden Myers gave him no room on the entry. Unfortunate for Tarango, but Myers holding his ground very well there. As again, the 2 Burrell Arts pushing away a bit at the front. De Janeiro trying to hang on.
The Canadians still holding on to the race lead up front, though. Saint-Pierre still playing pretty significantly solid pace, running 1-minute lap times right now across the field with how things have gone so far. Still keeping lockstep with De Janeiro as well in this pack, almost as the bridge for Katowski at this point.
Yeah, Katowski just needs to get a little bit closer to De Janeiro to get himself into drafting range, but the 2 of them have a lot of work to do to make sure that they can keep up with Jeremy St. Cyr and Lorenko Varela. As they'll come out of the final corner here in just a second, you can see there is the gap at the front. Look at it. Enzo De Janeiro has found an extra gear here to get himself back into the lead draft. That last time through for De Janeiro was very good. It was purple, a full 3/10 clear of what the rest of the field's able to do. And now, again, these 2 continue to push at the front, but they're not really getting anywhere, or at least not getting away from Enzo De Janeiro.
Less than halfway to go in terms of minutes on the clock, mind you, right now. But at this point, this is the calm before the storm, it almost feels like, because you spend too long battling. You bring in Katowski, you bring in Myers possibly, you bring Tarango for one of the first times this weekend to the lead battle as well. You have to limit the variables, as we talked about, in terms of the chess match philosophy. If you don't limit those variables, well, do you want 20 karts battling for the race lead, or rather in this case 10? Because there's the chance you can at least have most of that number in that mix if you end up not thinking big picture here.
Yeah, I mean, there's 10 karts in this mini-max field, or 9 that I think are still on the racetrack at this point, or 9 that are competitive at this point. And of those, 6 of them can fit into one single wide shot, as Enzo De Janeiro 1 second back from Lorenko Varela. Not going to happen. A half move there will not be good for him. And you can see when they run single file, they are very quick. But De Janeiro, I think, wants to split up the 2 Burrells. He wants to kind of control his own race in a sense, as there's problems for Ashton Woon, who I think has retired from this race after a very disappointing end to his weekend that has simply not gone anywhere near as well as the rest of the year has gone for Woon.
It didn't go well in final practice / warm-ups here today because of the rainy conditions. Then it crosses over to what's a very sunny race in and of itself. So not the greatest of runs for Woon to close out round number 1 here. But all of that's while Katowski's moving up has stalled. And Tarango just saying, I like to make passes. They did the same thing in Colorado, sent in places that you normally wouldn't expect him to see him make passes. He got turned around for, remember, in Colorado as well, but he's able to get towards the top 5 with that move in the second pack.
Yeah, Lucas Tarango very quick in his move up to the Minimax category. We saw him absolutely dominant in micro in the U.S. Trophy West Series, but for Lucas Tarango, this has been a very good, promising weekend on the mini side of things. Again, people forget, he pushed Lucas Palacio to the brink last year in the Micromax Grand Final in the Grand National Championship at Newcastle. So for Tarango, this has been a very good run of form as of late on the Rotax platforms, and now he is doing very well in his first race in the mini-max side of things. Now, down the front straightaway, change in the lead. Lorenko Varela already passed. He's clear before they even get to the corner, and he just passed Jeremy St. Cyr. De Janeiro thinks about a move to the inside into turn number 2. Not going to happen, but for the first time in a few laps, we have a new race leader.
So the ROK Cup winner in Mini a few months ago, able to pick up the race lead once again. Varela now able to still work with his teammate. I think Varela's going to be difficult to stop, mind you, throughout this entire rest of this race, though, because he's had the experience of defending and attacking for the final laps, and has done very well in both of those sequences so far. De Janeiro is still going to be the variable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Varela's been very good with his racecraft all weekend long. So as long as he can kind of control the lead, they will be in good shape for this one as they come down to complete another lap. About 3.5 minutes left in the race. There's a penalty board notification for somebody. I'm going to check here in a second. But really, this has been a good start to the race for Enzo De Janeiro. He's gone through in turn 2 on Jeremy St. Cyr. St. Cyr does not want to hang back on him. Down into turn 4, going to try and move on De Janeiro, and De Janeiro hangs on for that second position.
Well, you said they wanted to see the breakup. Brother De Janeiro wanted to see the breakup of the two of the teammates in front. They just had the breakup right now. So now, can he find the reunion with the race lead? He's putting on a blistering lap to go all the way to the bumper. Does he make the move this time for turn 12? Coming to 3 minutes to go. He seems to be pressurized in mistake with the bumper.
Yeah, looks like Varela's going to hang on for this lap. Oh, I spoke too soon. Enzo De Janeiro ahead of him, and into the barrier for Renko Varela, and that will take him out of the lead pack and almost out of contention here. So Renko Varela, a surprise move from Enzo De Janeiro in the final corner. Looks like they didn't really make much contact, but it sent Varela off into the dirt. He could not hang on, went in the barrier just briefly, and now he's got a lot of work to do if he wants any shot at this race win.
Yeah, now he needs a lot of hope to do so with him already losing 2+ seconds. Not a chance he closes up that in 2 minutes unless it becomes an absolute gauntlet for the race lead. St. Cyr needs to put on the drive of his year so far. If he wants to keep this gap, or rather close up said gap now, to be able to have a chance to avenge his teammates, so to speak.
And how about Nico Katowski as well? He's kind of been in the background just lurking all race long. Hasn't been consistently the fastest. He's been right there, though. And now with a couple laps to go, a good last few laps could put Nico Katowski in range if these two start to fight. There's the gap in the background. What's the gap to Varela this time through? It's 1.2 to Katowski. It's 2.7 to Renko Varela. That is going to be almost impossible to overcome here.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the penalty boards just in case. But by the way, that error board penalty was for your micro leader for weaving as a warning for Jack Katowski. So that seems to be the case in that situation, because as you can see on the interval, Harold's within 0.4 of Katowski. So it's getting a little bit aggressive around the racetrack in general for both class wins.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Kira's gotten around Enzo De Janeiro. Now we wait to see what the response is. They're going to have 3 laps to go when they come across the line this time through. Katowski, one more move, I think, will put him in drafting range if De Janeiro makes it at the right spot. So this could be very interesting here. De Janeiro will see the clock. He'll know there's 3 laps to go, but this time he's going to push down the front straightaway. I think he knows it's in his best interest here to work with St. Cyr until they get to 2 to go. I know that the strategy throughout the race was mainly to go past. He wanted to split up the 2 PSL karting Barrel entries, but now with the way that this race has unfolded, his best bet really just to push St. Cyr away a little bit and then try to decide it between the 2 of them, because otherwise Katowski will be on the scene, and will be on the scene with a lot of incentive to help out his teammate and help out himself.
Yeah, coming around now, De Janeiro seems to be in full push mode. He tried to push the bumper already once on St. Cyr to pressurize the mistake. Not close enough to do so yet. Should be about 2 to go since they reached triple zeros here this time on the clock. Let's find out how they race each other here in these final couple laps here up on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. This should be an interesting one to go. 2 laps of racing left. De Janeiro on the bumper, still pushing through turns 1 and 2. He's shown a lot of patience and a lot of aggression when he needs to. We'll see how he plays this one here as they come up through turn number 4. Again, taking a lot of looks back. He sees how far back Katowski is. He knows that the last lap they were 3/10 quicker than him. So this could be the chance here for De Janeiro just to kind of break away a bit and then decide it on the last lap and a half.
We've seen the move in the lap and a half to go before, though. De Janeiro has been really good in Sector 2 to the run up through turn 11. Right up towards the back end just about again. A little bit further back than last lap, but he's still within a range potentially to poke. He's trying to aim it. He's trying to aim it. He goes into the inside, sets it up for the move, coming to the white flank, but the crossover for St. Kier.
Yeah, and St. Kier, that was a critical move. He passed him in a spot where De Janeiro was all flying, off on the marbles, and it's going to be a mountain to climb for Enzo De Janeiro now, who has to get his head back in the game a little bit now. And so that crossover has given a little bit of a buffer for St. Kier. It's brought Nico Katowski back into the battle as they come through turns 3 up to turn 4. No defense necessary for Jeremy St. Kier, but Enzo De Janeiro seems to have found the pace back again aboard that FA kart as they come down through turns 6 and 7. You can see the pace that St. Kier has. He's got about 2 car lengths in hand. That might be enough here, Justin.
It might just about be with that distance unless De Janeiro goes extremely bold on the set. Way too far back, needs an air 2 kart lengths to realistically do anything. St. Kier perfectly encapsulated the crossover move to be able to get this lead. Coming around to the checker this time. Well done from St. Kier.
Jeremy St. Kier, has been a battle all final long, but ultimately your pole sitter is your race winner. Jeremy St. Kier with a nice celebration to win in Mini Max ahead of Enzo De Janeiro and Nico Katowski. And now we wait for the result here on the Micro Max side of things, waiting to see who can cross the line first in that one. It's been a very close race between Jack Katowski as well as Anthony Mazzola and Slate Harrell. We'll wait to see who gets across first on the Micro Max side of things and across the line for the final time in this race. Jack Katowski versus Anthony Mazzola and Slate Harrell coming towards the finish here in just a minute. But Jeremy St. Kier, a dominant win, or not a dominant win at all, but really a very close win, but one that he led ultimately over half of the race. So Katowski finishes on the podium in the 3rd spot, De Janeiro in the 2nd spot. Meanwhile, waiting for the finish in Micro is Jack Katowski, walking away with the victory ahead of Slate Harrell and Anthony Mazzola. So good result for those guys. Renko Varela in 4th, Lucas Durango 5th, Holden Myers 6th, Achilles Sapirko 7th, Cole Veteran 8th, and you get down to the DNFs on the mini side of things. Connor Leipka had to pull in early, as did Ashton Woon. Unfortunate for both of them. But for Jeremy St. Kier, a victory in a very exciting race here, Justin.
A very thrilling race, to say the least, for the finish. But hey, we still have one more race to go on the docket to close out the day. And that one should also be a thrower to see what happens in Senior Max.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a very fun race indeed. We've waited all weekend long for the main events. They've delivered so far, but we have one more headline class coming up next. It's Senior Max. It's Diego Ramos, Oliver Hodgson, Zachary Clemendemel, and the rest of your star-studded senior lineup coming up next here on Kart Chaser.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race in his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, KartPlex has done the hard work for you. We've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does KartPlex offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack, pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartplex.com to get your track information.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop akr.com.
I'm David Serra, 18-time Australian karting champion, and we're launching KartPlex. KartPlex is an advanced digital training program that suits a driver who's just starting out in the sport, all the way to the driver looking to win a national championship. In this program, you're going to be learning about how to find the ideal racing line and what an apex is, braking and throttle markers, wet weather racing lines, and how to overtake other competitors. We target how to brake in the wet weather, and we look on the mental side of kart racing as well with our mental skills coach. At the completion of this program, you'll be lighting up purple sectors in qualifying, know when to defend on the opening laps, and how to pressure your opposition into mistakes. We teach you the tools to be resilient and how to get in the right frame of mind before a race. We look to complete the whole package by getting a strong mindset, a driving style to suit all conditions, strategizing your race, and getting the last 1% from your team. We'll teach you how to win the final lap of a race, driving the wet like Max Verstappen, and creating the perfect bubble for yourself to mentally be in the zone. To find out more, click the link below.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParallelinUSA.com.
is starting to get formed here for the Rotax Senior Max category, the final class, the final race of the day here at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the Rotax Max Challenge US Trophy East round number 1. It has been a great round of racing to this point. A lot of close battles, a lot of exciting finishes, and ultimately some great action being put on display by all of the drivers in all of the categories. But it'd be remiss if we didn't mention that this is ultimately the headline of the weekend. Some of the best racing that we've seen all weekend long has been in the senior category. So much great racing, so many storylines to follow, and it starts at the front with Diego Ramos, Justin.
Ramos has been knockout fast throughout the entire week so far, short, mid, and long run in each of the races, whether it's heat or pre-final. Today's going to be the true test, though. Is he going to be able to maintain it for the full final? It's going to be huge to see what happens here, and especially to see if Oliver Hodgson, who started showing signs that he could close a bit for the long run at the very tail end of the pre-final, could be a factor in the closing stages here.
Absolutely, and Hodgson's had so much space all weekend long. I mean, we've seen him, it takes him a few laps to get going, but once he does, that comp kart is on rails throughout the rest of the finals. So this is going to be an exciting race for sure. Hodgson, with a longer final, should be able to kind of play more to the strengths of that comp kart. He's got Cooper Auclair not too far away as well in the 321, who's had to work his way through the field a lot this weekend. And ZCD as well. Always a wild card up at the front with his racecraft style. Should be one that will make this one a more interesting final as well. So there's a lot of strategy going on. There's a lot of interesting components throughout the field. The likes of Ben Hernandez has been pretty strong this weekend, overcoming an issue in the first heat race. Gavin Bailiff, of course, starting decently far back. And Timothy Pernod had so much pace at points yesterday, just needed to put the result together. So a lot of storylines, a lot of big names about to go out on the track here in a few minutes here in Senior Max, and we are going to be very excited to see what can happen from the drop of the green flag. This one should be a really thrilling race.
It should be exciting as the last of the drivers get the ready to the starting grid for today's festivities. By the way, just got the confirmation that CCD's race suit is potentially the one from Texas that would have been Joseph Newgarden back in 2019. So can he use the race suit to try and follow the same pattern Joseph Newgarden did and win the race?
Yeah, that is an interesting piece of trivia. Our very own producer, director, floater, whatever you want to call him, Kyle Cuthbertson this weekend on the camera, down on the grid, getting us that intel as well. I mean, Kyle's a big IndyCar guy, so not surprised he knows that was ECD and the origins of that suit. But yeah, I mean, quick shout out to the rest of our crew this weekend. Of course, Luis Diaz on the camera that we're on right now on cam 1. Riley Can on the switches this weekend. Nikita Panera stepping up last minute to work one of our cams as well. And of course, myself, Justin Prince on the comms, as well as Kyle Cuthbertson doing just about everything this weekend. So a big crew this weekend, a lot of fun racing here in Cincinnati. Again, thank you to everyone who's tuned in throughout the world on Kart Chaser to watch what should be a very thrilling Rotax Senior Max main event here between Diego Ramos, Oliver Hodgson, and the rest of your grid.
Looks like the said grid is just discussing things with the drivers meeting while they prepare. Looks like they've gotten the command to go to their karts. We're just about set to go racing for the Senior Max.
Yeah, Senior Max getting set to go, getting on their karts. Again, this is the most intense part of the race that is going to happen. You're going to see a lot of interesting battles in the opening couple laps. And again, if you're on the grid, the nerves go through the roof. Some drivers wait till the last possible minute to get suited up. There's Timothy Pernod doing just that. Some drivers are more laid back and are able to kind of just focus in with their suit and helmets on from the get-go. We've seen guys like Wes Gunnar have their suits on for a little while. We've seen Diego Ramos suited up for a little bit as well. So different strategies, different ways to get in the right mindset, but ultimately all that matters is what is on the racetrack. And we're going to see the product coming in just a minute or two here. Engines are firing up. Let's take you through the grid here for Rotax Senior. Starting out on the front row, Diego Ramos and Oliver Hodgson. Both of them have been very good this weekend. Ramos with the upper hand just about every session. In the second row, Zachary Clement DeMello with the Joseph Newgarden suit on it. Will it be a Newgarden type drive, or will it simply be a ZCD type drive? One reminiscent of that at Supernats in 2019. Wes Gumler on the second row as well. He'll start ahead of Cooper O'Clair and Aiden Fox on the third row of the grid. Further down, Theo Kakati and Timothy Pernod make up row number 4. Those two got together in the in heat number 2. Both of them should be contenders here in this one. Ben Hernandez and Aiden Marenko on the 5th row. Then further down, it's the hometown kid, Gavin Bailiff, starting alongside Chris Harrower. Kai Broben-Facino and Ben Lida on row number 7. Brian Bolos and Austin Olds make up row 8. And Nick Mercer and Yash Rampal will round off your grid for Senior Max. Once again, one last time, 16 minutes and 2 laps the distance here in Senior. And we should be set for all of the action to take place all the way throughout those 16 minutes and 2 laps. About 19 to 20 laps the distance in total. And Hodgson, Ramos, DCD, Gunwer, and the rest of your grid getting formed up and ready to go for their final race of the weekend.
And I think it's going to be an exciting battle up front, possibly off the start, especially if you throw CCD into the mix of things. Looks like they're just about ready to go racing here. Can Ramos hold them up and hold them off? Or what else can happen here in this final?
Yeah, we see Diego Ramos, Oliver Hodgson on the front row. Ramos, unbeatable this weekend. Hodgson looking to change that. We're ready for the green light to go out. Here we go. 16 minutes, 2 laps of Senior Max racing. We're green in Cincinnati, and Diego Ramos to the lead. Zachary Clement DeMello trying to get second from Hodgson as they go side by side down into turn 2 as one kart goes off in the back. Multiple karts go off in the back. There's Ben Lida off, and a rough start for Oliver Hodgson as he's down to 5th on the opening few corners.
Not to start Hodgson wanted whatsoever, especially what we talked about in terms of his long run pace. CCD, though, he's providing a lot of pressure to Ramos to start off this race already up to 2nd and reeling on in Ramos. Don't be surprised if he goes for it already.
Yeah, ZCD has gotten a great start here. This opening lap will be critical if he wants a shot. He's going to go underneath, try to follow Ramos through on the defensive line. He's got Wes Gunler right behind him in 3rd. They're all stacking up here through the back 2 hairpins. Ramos again going defensive. This will set up a good crossover chance for ZCD. He's going side by side as in the background Hodgson makes a move in the foreground. ZCD to the race lead. Gunler to 2nd. Gunler's going to go for the lead into turn 1. Wesley Gunler to the race lead as ZCD is going to cross them back over and get it back into turn 2. They're side by side, 2 by 2. Here comes Hodgson back on the scene as well.
Well, this just completely flipped the entire script, didn't it? Ramos all the way back to the 4th spot. One more kart getting pulled off the racetrack there.
Ben Hernandez.
Yeah, and now
Ben
this...
Hernandez. Yeah, now this group of karts going down through the S's and into turn 11. You can see ZCD has the early edge here. A big run for him on the opening couple laps, and Wes Gunler right there in tow. This has been the best we've seen Gunler run all weekend long. He has not really been in contention for the top 5. Now, though, he's chasing down the race lead in the TV kart of Zachary Clement DeMello.
CCD now trying to channel his inner Joseph Newgarden. How about Ramos saying, I don't want to get past anymore. Cooper O'Clair providing a lot of pressure. Fox having to be blocked off as well. So different battle packs starting to form up here. This is a completely different type of race than we may have been expecting to start things off today.
Yeah, and Hodgson there into the 2nd spot ahead of Wesley Gunler. Now we'll see with clean air without getting swarmed, can Ramos make up the time again? It's a long final, 13 minutes, upwards of 13 minutes to run and figure this one out. But again, you need to get good track position. Hodgson's recovered from a bad start to be in the 2nd spot. But how about it for ZCD, controlling the race from the front? He likes to be up front. He likes to have the chance to control the narrative, to defend where he needs to defend. And now he'll have a long time to have to hold on against some karts that have looked quicker all weekend, as there goes Cooper O'Clair getting shuffled back. Gavin Bailiff's going to be on the scene. He just got passed by a number of karts there. And now another lap in the books for ZCD, but Hodgson is right there, and there's a 392 side pod Not sure who's that is off of. I think that might be off of Nick Mercer back in the 15th position there. So unfortunate for the 392 machine of Nick Mercer. They'll have to pull in with that one, but at the front, the top three have pulled away. Ramos, though, has cleared that second group, and now we'll see what he can do as Auclair is really under fire into the turn 7 hairpin.
Oh, and they're starting to check each other up too. Bailiff just about ran over the rear bumper for him. They're just about stepping on charge, some of these teammates back there, but that top three, Hodgson, with everything that's happened, he's still having a chance to take the race lead. ZCD's not going to let him have it, though. Remember, these two went at it in each of the heat races where Hodgson just could not get the pass done and fully completed without the crossover back.
Yeah, and Aiden Fox has got ahead of Diego Ramos. Pernod trying to get ahead as well. They're 3 wide further back. This is chaotic action all the way through the field. Gavin Bailiff getting swarmed as they all fight it out further through the midfield and the depths of the back end of the field as we wait to see what's going on at the front of the field and see if we can see what the battle for the lead is looking like, because ZCD's just gotten passed by Wes Gumler and Oliver Hodgson in the lead. Gumler going to give Hodgson the bumper. ZCD going to go as well. Hodgson's off the track. Hodgson's going to lose 7 or 8 spots all the way down outside the top 5, and Wes Gumler retakes the race lead.
Well done, Gunler. We haven't talked about him much this weekend so far, but Gunler so far has been one of the dark horses when it comes to his pace. He was top 3 contender in the pre-final yesterday, already showing some good paces. A little bit of an off excursion again. Ramos and Perdon now swapping spots as here we go for the race lead again.
ZCD back to the lead. Gumler not happy at all about that. He'll have his teammate Aiden Fox behind him who might want to work with him, but Zachary Clemente does not want to wait in second for too long. Gumler's going to go right back. ZCD's going to try to shut the door. This will get Harry into turn 4, and Gumler survives. Aiden Fox up to the lead. Aiden Fox and the Fox & Sons karting team up to the lead, and now Gumler going to be under fire from this entire pack as Ramos, Pernod, Hodgson, Kakati, and Auclair all there. There's a sea of different go-karts all the way down to the 8th position, all in one line now trying to chase back down Aiden Fox.
This is the first time we've seen Fox in the lead all weekend as well. How about that with how things have played out so far? Now can Fox prove he can defend CCD, proving he wants second? A little bit more aggressive moves. 2 different drivers got squeezed off to the final corners.
Yeah, Ramos went off, and then also Wes Gumler now going defensive. Hodgson probably going to return the favor, if I had to guess, for the contact earlier on in the race. Oliver Hodgson now behind Wes Gumler. Pernod's up to 3rd, his highest spot of the race so far. And ZCD now has cleared this pack and is looking back up towards Aiden Fox as a dive bomb to the inside for Hodgson. He's going to shuffle Gumler wide. And so in one lap, Gumler's gone from 1st down to the outside of the top 5, almost down to 7th. As you can see, Diego Ramos right at the end of the train trying to make a move. Ramos, who has dominated this weekend, this final has been a pit of misery for him so far. He's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants any shot at that race win.
Just had a penalty bulletin go over 2 different, in fact. One is for Brian Buchholz for a pushback bumper, but the bigger one, CCD, who is currently questing for the race lead, just got a bump with advantage penalty from the lap 4 turn 7 pass attempt. So this could shake things up at the front, to say the very least, as they're trying to break away on track.
Yeah, this could be a penalty that, if not served, as ZCD is going to the race lead. He'll get by Aiden Fox, and again, that pass that they're referring to is the one with Wesley Gumler and Oliver Hodgson. So by their verdict, it would seem that they think that ZCD was the one that initiated the contact with Gumler into the back of Oliver Hodgson. Either way, that is going to be something that they'll have to debate either after the race or certainly possibly with the officials. But ZCD for the moment in the race lead provisionally, as Timothy Pernod seems to be backing up this second group as Fox and ZCD have gotten away from him. And Pernod now going to go very defensive into the corner. Hodgson's going to see that and get by Kakati, but this has turned into a scrum for that 3rd spot. It's all contact. Hodgson's over the top of Timothy Pernod for the 2nd time in as many days. Pernod has made contact in that corner, and at some point you just have to give up the position, as Pernod did not give way. Hodgson went over top of him, and that has ruined both of their races.
Pernod's front end absolutely demolished it, or send up the inside. Meanwhile, in this pack, Kakati's in range for a podium now all of a sudden with everything that's broken out here. This is absolutely been an unreal race, to say the very least, because I don't think this fit anybody's script on how they would have written the race going into today. People may have thought, oh, Ramos has been dominant, he'll keep it up. No, Ramos has struggled today, and everybody else has said, it's time to prove who can be the one to battle up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that battle between Pernod and basically the rest of the field made it to where it's now upwards of a 2-second gap. You could see Cooper Auclair making the move on his teammate Theo Kakati up for the 5th position there. The 4th position ahead of Kakati. Kakati's lost a lot of time, and now Diego Ramos back on the scene. How about it for Austin Olds? Up to the 7th spot. He started this race on 16th. He's been very quick. He's emerged from that hectic mid-pack scrap at the start of the race, and now he's not that far away from a potential podium here, Justin.
Yeah, not bad at all. He did it as well in one of the heat races. It's just been an off time when it comes to the track position side, I think, for Olds so far. He was one of the DNSs, in fact, from some of the previous races, hence why he started towards the back. Olds, we know, does have at least a top 10 pace, so good on him. But all that's wow. More shuffling. Kakati going back to where he's been running much of the weekend with Ramos on the swap. Auclair also providing pressure to Gundler. That second pack is becoming pretty fierce again. And look who's picked up tempo. Bailiff, after being down on powers in the popcorn seat to all this battling and all this squeezing to the grass.
Cool, that was on the edge from Diego Ramos. Kakati did not give way. He moves up a spot. Ramos going to go down to the inside, push Olds wide. Man, Diego, I think, is really frustrated with how this race is going, but he's got to be careful there. You do not want to pick up extra penalties unnecessarily, as now Ramos gets pushed in the grass. Ramos is out. Ramos has spun around in turn number 4, and Diego Ramos, your pole sitter who had dominated all weekend long, is out in the grass in turn number 4, and he will make the long drive back to the racetrack, and his race is effectively over. So, man, we started 2 guys on the front row in Hodgson and Ramos, and neither of them have made it through this race unscathed. Diego Ramos, it was already a bad race, and it has just gotten a whole lot worse.
And what could have been, and it's kind of what goes to the mind right now, Ramos looks so lightning fast for so long, but today it's just been everything but. From the practice where he put on the rain tires, can't really go on and judge him on that, but the race itself, it's like the kart's just been off, and now the off track kind of snowballs it to 13th on track.
Yeah, Diego had such a good run throughout the weekend, and it just never was normal in the final. Just a weird race for Diego Ramos. His best lap time was upwards of a second off the pace of what Oliver Hodgson has done just that most recent lap. So something is definitely up for Diego Ramos. Unfortunate for him. Got definitely flustered. A couple of dodgy moves there on the lap before he spun out, and ultimately I think he got a little bit of help from Gavin Bailiff there that ultimately spun him around. So that's the end of Ramos's run, but there's a bigger storyline coming on, and that is Oliver Hodgson, who, mind you, was in 13th, crashed out with Timothy Pernod, is now sliced his way up into the middle of this battle, and is all the way up to the 8th position. He might still have a shot, maybe not at a podium, but certainly at a top 5 if things go right for him here. But at the front of the field, Zachary Caminamelo continues to comfortably lead up at the front.
Who had this on the script either for CCD to just take advantage of everything else collapsing around after all the craziness yesterday during the heat races, backed up some of the pace yesterday in the pre-final, then has the best run out of anybody on the long run here today. That's what's go-kart racing, right? You just have to do the races to find out how the race is going to go. You can't really write the races on paper and play it out on paper. You do the races, and mechanically, speed-wise, environment-wise, everything can change in an instant, and that's been the way today. CCD's been lights out fastest run in the 56.4s this entire run for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as quick as Oliver Hodgson is right now. Hodgson, I don't know if he's seeing red mist or what, but that Brit is absolutely flying. The J3 Comkart at the hands of Brent's own Oliver Hodgson has now made up another spot, up to 6th ahead of Austin Olds. He has been absolutely rapid these last few laps, but he's got a long way to go to get up to a podium. So Hodgson trying to salvage what he can out of this race. Unfortunate contact between him and Timothy Pernod, and this field has been completely flipped around. But for ZCD, I mean, this has been a controlling race. He has not had to be dominant pace-wise, but he's just a bit quicker than Aiden Fox, and the rest of the field not able to settle their differences effectively, and it has left Zachary Clement with a very comfortable lead at the front as Fox starts to fall under pressure a little bit from Cooper Auclair, who has been very quick the last few laps.
Bump with advantage bulletin, by the way, for Bailiff for the contact that sent Ramos off track. Ramos has indeed pulled back behind the pit wall. Looks like 4 laps down, so 12 left on track. All this is with Gundler quietly still in the conversation for the podium. Auclair, talk about him. He's been able to hold on top 5. Had a rough start to the weekend with the qualifying issues, and since then has kind of powered his way back into the conversation for the podium since the start of the heats yesterday.
Yeah, Cooper Auclair finding a lot of extra pace aboard that J3 Comcart, a lot of speed. Kind of a tale of 2 days for him. You know, yesterday struggled a little bit in the heats to get back up through the field after a qualifying effort. They saw him qualify on the front row, but got disqualified because he lost a chain guard. Today, he's been able to be up at the front consistently. The pace had not been there for a lot of the race, but now he has come alive these last couple laps. And while Hodgson is setting the world alight in 6, Auclair is really keeping up with him pace-wise. And it's an interesting situation brewing right now because Auclair is running 7/10 a lap quicker than Aiden Fox, and he's bringing Wes Gumbler and Theo Kakati along with them. They might have an outside chance at a race win if Auclair can make something happen on Fox, get around him right away as they're coming up to the back section right now. As you see, there's the move for Auclair. He is going to get a shot to try to run LZCD. I don't know if it's going to be enough because he's going to have to make up upwards of 2 seconds in 3 laps, but Auclair has put on the charge as of the late, and he is going to be in a great position for these last few laps. So now Wes Gumbler comes up to his teammate Aiden Fox.
Hey, never say never with this type of race today, right? So, but CCD has just been knockout fast with everything what's been going on so far. Keep an eye on him for the race lead so far. CCD absolutely has backed up why he was trying to fight so hard to get track position after the qualifying. Fight so hard to prove that if you put him in this position as the race leader, he can run. And he can dominate a race like this. And he's been getting faster and faster. Fastest lap for him last time by, in fact. Down to the final 6 seconds on the clock. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, and Wes Gumbler's gotten around Aiden Fox there. Now Theo Kakati and Oliver Hodgson are going to be in the fight as well. There's Aiden Lorenko fighting Austin Olds back in the back end of the top 10. A lot of good battling going on through the field as now Gumbler sets after 2 laps to go. He's around his teammate that last time through for Cooper Auclair. Let's check the time. A 56.296 to lead. A lot more than that to try to catch up to ZCD. It's a little bit of a case of too little too late. There goes Kakati to the inside Aiden Fox. Fox has seen his race come undone these last few laps as Hodgson now going to be up on his rear bumper very soon. Fox is going to go defensive to try to hang on against the Brit.
Yeah, Fox just slipping back at the very end. He's been running around this spot. He's in, but CCD coming around towards the final stretch here. Looking to try and get a chance to celebrate the 26-year-old having an unbelievable sequence of events. Seen up to the front by more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, you can see ZCD is looking, not sure what that was. It's not the end of the race here, I don't think. There's still 1 lap to go in Senior Max. ZCD with a little bit of a salute on that lap. And that last time through, Auclair was definitely quicker. He was 4/10 quicker. It's not going to be enough at this rate. But for Auclair, for Wes Gumbler, still going to be happy to be on the podium. And you can see there, Oliver Hodgson getting by Theo Kakati. And ZCD heads to the second half of his lap looking for a main event victory, at least on the track, as they try to figure out what will happen afterwards.
I think that was more so just visibility for CCD. Now he's going full salute mode.
No, I think he's celebrating to the cameras here, Justin. I think he's seeing where our cameras are located as he comes through the final couple corners. Zachary Clement DeMello What a run for him. He's got New Garden suit on. He's won the Super Nationals. A return to form. Zachary Clement DeMello with the main event victory in Senior Max.
Taking a bit of the Joseph Newgarden for the celebration too, right along the pit road. What a run for ZCD to pick up the W.
And ZCD always animated. What a celebration that was for Zachary Clement DeMello. He takes the win here in Senior Max. Cooper O'Clair, a great run through the field to get up to second. Almost back up to ZCD, about a second and a half back. Wes Gunware in the third spot. Oliver Hodgson finishes up fourth. Aiden Fox fifth. Theo Kakati sixth. Ada Lorenko in seventh. Josh Rimpel eighth. Austin Olds ninth. And Gavin Bale provisionally rounds out your top 10. Down through the rest of the grid, Chris Harewer, Ben Lida rounds out your 12 finishers. And then a host of DNFs, Ramos and Pernod. What a weekend for PSL. A double 1-2 at the start of the weekend after qualifying, winning all the heats, all the pre-finals, and then a double DNF in the final for both of the members of the Red Army. But what a race for Zachary Clement DeMello. What a weekend. And after all of that, to see Cooper O'Clair and Wes Gummer on the podium, ZCD and P1, that was not an order you would have predicted here, Justin.
Yeah, this was not an order I had predicted at all. I was predicting something between the battle between Ramos and Hodgson. But again, what a race. What a race when it comes to today. Back and forth for a lot of the spots, but ZCD backs up the speed he showcased in flashes yesterday to be able to flash into victory lane today.
Yeah, it's been a great day for Zachary Clement DeMello. We'll have to see what the Rotax Max officials decide to do with this one. But provisionally, a win for ZCD, a stunning win, a win in style for him, and for Cooper O'Clair, for Wesley Gumler as well. Great runs for them. For Gumler leading the race, for O'Clair fighting through the field, and Oliver Hodgson, after getting really kind of in an incident with Timothy Pernod in the back half of the racetrack. He was upwards of 10 seconds back. He winds up 3.5 seconds off of the race lead. A really good race there for Hodgson. And well, that was quite the Senior Max final.
Quite the Senior Max final and quite the day overall, because there was so much the conversation coming into today, at least because of the clouds that just so happened to have kept away from us until right about now. About was it going to become a rain race? We end up having it stay dry the entire time for the racing. What a run overall for the field, as it's time, I guess, for the rain to start to come in with the wind starting to gust up.
Yeah. I mean, this has been an exciting day. We thought for a little bit the rain would come. The rain held off just enough. As it turns out, the vortex theory that Darrell Walters once hypothesized on NASCAR coverage, well, I can't say that that's true, but I can say that the rain was able to stay away for just long enough from the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. So that wraps up 2 days of thrilling action here at round number 1 of the Rotax Max Challenge US Trophy East in Batavia, Ohio. We've seen some great racing in Senior Max. We saw Lorenzo Mardan take away a great win in the Masters Max category. A great race of Mini as well for Jeremy St. Cyr, and a great race in the Junior Max category as well. So from all of us at Kart Chaser, from myself, Emery Lida, from Justin Prince alongside me, and the rest of our outstanding Casey Grew, thank you for watching this round number 1 of the US Trophy East Series, and we'll be back for more outstanding kart racing coverage and a series near you.